ain't cool. It ain't cool till I say it's cool. This is Ike and Tina. And you gonna sing like I tell you to sing. You gonna sing this motherfucker till you get it right. You understand me?
Let me tell you that I saw your boyfriend walking down the street. He was standing all shaky, hands all sweaty, and he could hardly speak. I might as well take a minute or two to put you onto some game. You got a boy like him, a man like me, and that's just not the same. And never mind an SMS, what you need is a sweet caress. Everybody wanna talk too much, but what you need is a special touch. Ooh girl, wouldn't that feel right? A little dinner with a candlelight. And really when it comes down to it, pick a man that's down to fight. I'll give him bona fide loving.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? All my players and playettes out there in Radio Land. This is your host, Mr. King Flex, Your Highness, also known as TN, Tariq Nasheed. What's going on, everybody? Glad to have everybody tuning in. This is the first episode of the Mack Lessons Radio show for the new year. And I'm ready to chop up some good game, as I always do. Glad to have everybody with me. I hope everybody is having a great new year so far. Want to say that today's show is brought to you by MackLessons.com. That's where you can get all your Macking needs, including the brand new book, The Art of Gold Digging. Don't forget, you can get The Art of Gold Digging at Amazon.com. You can get it at Barnes & Nobles and BarnesandNobles.com. If you want to read an excerpt of the brand new book, The Art of Gold Digging, go to www.theartofgolddigging.com. Excellent book. Go check that out right now. Also, man, I want to say this. The Art of Mackin', which has been out of print for the last couple of years, a lot of websites are selling it for like $100 and $150. Don't buy those copies. Don't buy them. Because I am re-releasing The Art of Mackin'. We're having the 10-year anniversary edition coming out in February, which is a couple of weeks. So February 1st, you can get The Art of Mackin' in bookstores. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You're going to get it all over the place. So don't pay no $140 and all that bullshit. It's going to be $14, $15. Just wait till February 1st and you get the 10th anniversary edition of The Art of Mackin'. It's going to be revised and updated. So you got to have that. That's a must-have in your book collection. Now, today is going to be a very good show. Let me put on some Mackin' music right now. God damn it. Let me put on some Mac music. Now, today is a very good show. We're going to talk about being an intelligent player, the importance of having intelligence with your game. Because we're going to start off the new year right, man. This year, we're going to focus on really stepping your intellect up. And I have a pay-per-view special that's going to go deeper into that tomorrow. I have a very good pay-per-view special that's coming out tomorrow, and you can get the pay-per-view special at MackLessons.com called The Illuminati. I'm going to get real deep on that one. I'm really going to help everybody step their intellect game up. But on today's show, like I said, man, if you want to be a player, you got to have a certain level of intelligence. And we want to focus on that now because, as you know, the formula that I've come up with called the GIC squared formula, that's game, intelligence, and common sense. That's the formula you need in order to be a very good, successful player, Mac, hustler, and all the above. You have to have those three elements in order to be 100% thorough in the game. And for those who don't know my theory, I talk about that theory in the Mack Lessons DVD. But game intelligence, common sense squared basically means infinite game, when you square off certain properties in mathematics, that makes it infinite. It's kind of a deep thing. It's a play on the Einstein theory of relativity. E equals mc squared. But game, intelligence, and common sense is very important. Now, the first year of the Mack Lessons Radio Show, we focused a lot on the game aspect. Having game. Having a tight mouthpiece. Being crisp with your lyrics. Being crisp with your game. The second year, we focused on a lot of common sense. I talk about a lot of common sense issues that go into relationships. But now we're going to focus this year on intelligence. We're going to talk about the game and common sense as well. We're going to get on that too, but I want to really put the spotlight on the intelligent side of the game. Because you can't be a dumb player. And the thing is, in our society, people are generally dumbed down by the powers that be. And I've talked about this, I've touched on it before, about how society and the public has been dumbed down. When you're dumbed down, you become easily controlled. They don't want people too smart, because if you're too smart, you start asking important questions and you start asking relevant questions. But if they can keep you dumb as long as possible, they can control you and get things over on you. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to become an author, man. I wanted to be able to be entertaining, but I wanted to be educational. I wanted to be informative with, my art. And that's what I do. Now, my show, for those who listen all the time, we have fun, we crack jokes, and, we get silly and we talk about game and getting women. But I always try to slip that element of intelligence in there. I try to slip some common sense in there. I try to slip some game in there. So you can be on top of your shit. See, if you look at television dumbs down people immaculately. I mean, you look at soap operas, the shit is dumb. They dumb women down. They have you sitting up looking at all this dumb shit all day. And I talk about that in my book, Player Be Played, how some of the soap operas, they become so silly and convoluted. Women sit up and just watch this dumb shit all day, and then your husband comes home and you talking crazy soap opera shit to him. Women sit at home all day and watch Maury Povich and all these goofy shows. And men too. A lot of the shows on television makes you stupid to a certain degree. Back in the day, I mean, there have always been dumb shows on television. Like, back in the day, you had dumb shows like The Munsters and The Flying Nun and all that stuff, but you had thought-provoking shows like Ironside and Perry Mason, and y'all remember the old Twilight Zone episodes? Those shows were deep as hell, very intelligently written, very thought-provoking shows. Now the shows are just goofy. There's a show on now, Bromance and Shot at Love with Tila Tequila. I mean, just these shows give me headaches to watch sometimes. And hey, I'm on a lot of these networks too, but when I'm on these shows, I try to inject some form of intellect in the game. I make it entertaining, but even when I'm on television, I try to be entertaining and I try not to dumb myself down or the audience. But some of these shows are so dumb. And forget about BET. I mean, they got ignorance 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day of goddamn ignorance. But dumbing people down, man, they want to control you. Like I said, and I talk about this on many shows, man, when they keep people dumb and unaware and your mind is focused on Dancing with the Stars and Tool Academy and all these goofy shows, man, you won't ask relevant questions. You won't know what's going on with the economy 100%. You won't see some of the bills that these guys are passing in the middle of the night getting over on people. But I digress. But you always try to step your game up just for yourself. Don't depend on other people to educate you. The point is, and the reason I'm saying this is that people, it's not in their best interest to keep you educated. It's in their best interest to dumb you down. So it's really up to you to step up your intellect game for yourself, even in school. Now, schools, especially college, and all my college students out there, when you go to college, they focus on left brain activity, which is basically repeating what's told to you. They don't encourage right brain activity, which is your creative side. In school, what they do, they tell you what to say and what to think. And then they want you to repeat that. They give you a test to make sure you remembered everything they told you. That's basically the education system. Very left brain activity. Whereas they should encourage a think tank mentality. They should encourage that right brain activity where you get together with other people that are just as bright as you and you come up with ideas. That's what old school philosophers did. Plato, Aristotle, all these guys, they would get together and they would create think tanks. Bright people would get together and they would pool their ideas together to come up with even better ideas. To me, that's real intellect. When they give you that left brain activity teaching, they teach you how to be good employees. When they tell you certain things and make you memorize it and test you on your memory, they teach you how to be controlled. And that's what society does in general, especially in schools. You're taught to be controlled. And if you notice with me, I try to teach people how to let that right brain take over a little bit, how to be creative with your game. Listen to what I'm saying, listen to the game I'm spitting, but I want you to apply it to your own life in a very creative way. That's why on my message board, UnitedPlayersOfAmerica.com, I have everybody join in with advice. It's just not one dictatorship where I'm just telling everybody what to do and what to say. I create a forum so everybody can abide by a certain standard of rules, the GIC rules and standards, but use your own techniques and strategies. I encourage creativity. And even when I do my lectures, and all you guys who have been to my lectures, when I'm through talking, instead of me just sitting up telling everybody, what to do, what to say, what to do, what to say, when I'm through doing my game spitting, I spit game for 45 minutes to an hour, then I make the audience join in and we all dialogue. And to me, that's the most fun part of the lectures when I go out, interacting with the audience and everybody's joining in and participating. I try to encourage that because that's going to make you a better player. That's going to make you a creative player, because the thing is, I can't be with you at all times. I can sit up and tell you, my strategies and my techniques, but when you leave, it's going to be you and the females that you meet. And I'm not going to be there with you. So some of the basic rules are going to be there, but in some situations you might need to be creative. And I want to help you hone in on that creative juice in your body. That's that right brain activity. I want you to come up with your own style, some of your own techniques. Abide by the basic rules of the GIC game, but you can still be creative in applying these rules. It's like a basketball player. In basketball, you have to abide by, no traveling, no double dribbling, no foul. You have to abide by a certain standard of rules, but every ball player can bring his own technique to the game. You have a ball player who can do a great sky hook. You can have ball players who are great offensive players. You have ball players who are great defensive players. You have, ball players who can dunk with their own little style. You have ball players with certain jumpers. They have their own style, their own signature moves, their own techniques, but they still abide by a certain rule and certain rules of the game. And that's what I encourage in the players. My Macs out there. All my GICs. And we got to make a choice, man, because there's a lot of simping in the game. There's a lot of thirsty bullshit in the game. And you got to look in the mirror and say to yourself, do I want to be a simp or do I want to be a GIC? A GIC is a person with game, intelligence, and common sense. And when you step to women, you have to ask yourself, am I a GIC? Am I using good game to step to this woman? Is she worth the good game I'm spitting? Am I using common sense with this woman? Is it going to be common sense and practical for me to deal with this woman? Am I being smart by dealing with this woman? You have to ask yourself these questions. If the only reason you're getting with people, okay, it's just an easy piece of ass, that's getting kind of played right now. You have to think above that, and I want my players out there, all my GICs, to understand that that ass ain't going nowhere. We have too much of that. Guys are just throwing in the towel, laying up with anything. Oh, it's an easy piece of ass, it's cool. A lot of times that easy piece of ass brings a lot of baggage and bullshit that you really don't want to deal with. You got to be a GIC about it. That's thirsty nigga shit. Just banging somebody, being around somebody, and all they have to bring to the table is just some ass. It's time to step the game up, man. I mean, I've talked about that, how to get the booty calls and the one night stands before in some of my books, but it's really time to elevate and grow from that. You want somebody who's going to be practical, somebody who's going to bring something to the table. That's why my last, the show I did a few weeks ago, the broke on broke dating, enough of that. We got to get our money game together. And that's why I'm doing that pay-per-view special about the Illuminati, which is very important. Everybody should get that show. It's a lot of deep game that you have to listen to, because there's some stuff going on with the economy that's really going to be jumping off sometime next month that I need to talk to everybody about and inform people about. So you really need to get the pay-per-view special tomorrow. That's why I'm really talking about intelligence and peeping game and understanding what's going on. But always upgrade your intelligence. You know, back in the day, street players were known for their intelligence. Even street women. The old school hustlers and the old school female hustlers, they were known for being very smart people. That's why they had such a level of respect. People in the community respected the hustlers, even the hoes. There was a certain level of respect for these women because the hoes were crisp. The women of the night were tight. They looked fly, they dressed in mink, and they had nice rides, and their mouthpiece was tight. Now, it's not the same thing, because you have a lot of women out here that's women of the night, women who's supposed to be hustlers, and they're dumb as a goddamn brick. People out here hoeing for attention. Women out here hoeing for blunts. And back in the day, like I said, the guys who were players, they were respected for their intelligence, because these guys would hustle and they would build. You know, they would set up legitimate businesses. They would be crisp. These dudes would be tight. Now you have a bunch of niggas out here hustling, so-called hustling, for peanuts. You have dudes, so-called dudes pimping on raggedy little crackhead brawls, which you shouldn't be doing. You have D-boys out here selling dope and ain't making no money. You have thieves out here getting 1 million years for robbing 7-Elevens. I mean, the street hustler has become dumb as fuck. There is no common sense, there is no game, there is no intelligence about what they do. A lot of dumb motherfuckers out here in the street messing the game up for real hustlers. There's no GIC in none of their stuff. So always upgrade your game, man. Always be practical about it. Don't be the broke dope dealer. That defeats the purpose of being a drug dealer. You know, I was looking at that show, and I always talk about this show. This show, it just amazes me. The Keisha Cole show, the way it is. And they had her mom, who used to be a crackhead. Her mom was dating this dope dealer. And I'm like, why would a dope dealer, nigga, sell dope and the best woman you can get is a 50-year-old crackhead? What's the purpose of selling dope? Well, don't you sell dope to really upgrade your lifestyle? That kills me when niggas sell dope and your shit is raggedy. Get a job at Nordstrom's, nigga, if you're going to be a raggedy drug dealer. Just like women who are strippers. If you're going to be a stripper and you broke, living in your granny's basement, go get a job at Sprint. You dig what I'm saying? You have people out here so-called hustling and you broke. The purpose of being a hustler is to not be broke. The purpose of being a hustler is to step your game up, to do things that you couldn't do otherwise. How you gonna be a broke hoe? Find a pimp or somebody. Don't be a broke renegade hoe. Get a job at Hooters or something if you're gonna be a broke hoe. Have some game intelligence and common sense about everything you do. Even in the square world, if you've been on a job for 10, 15 years and you ain't been promoted and you still living in a damn housing project, you need to stop. If you've been working on a job for 10, 15 years and hell, you still living in an apartment, you need to step your goddamn game up. You need to get some land or some real estate or something. Have intelligence, game, and common sense about everything you do. Not just hustlers, squares too, because some of you squares are doing some dumb shit as well. This can apply to you. Intelligence, game, common sense. Game, intelligence, common sense. You can be a jick about your game too. Don't be a dumb square. Don't be a dumb hustler. And all this applies to relationships as well. Having game, intelligence, common sense applies to squares, hustlers, pimps and hoes, squares and other squares. I was looking at something on MTV. They have a show called True Life. They were talking about age differences in couples, and they had this older woman with this younger dude. It was a dude about 25 years old and the woman was about 42 years old. It's a good looking woman for her age. Not a bad looking woman at all. So the woman was about 42 years old. The guy was 25 and the guy was living in the woman's apartment and they were living together. And it was the typical mother-child relationship that happened. It was a black couple, so you know she was real bossy to this dude. She was bossing this nigga around like he was a little ass boy. And this dude, I'm yelling at the screen watching this because he was so dumb. He was bragging to his friends about how fine his lady is. And in his little feeble ass mind, he's popping his collar like he's some type of player. And this woman has all types of contempt for him because he's young and he's acting like a little kid and he ain't really got no job that's helping out with the bills. So she was just constantly disrespecting this dude. And this dude couldn't see that it was going to get much worse. And a few months ago, I did a show called The 7 Levels of Disrespect. And she was doing the 7 levels verbatim. I mean, she was doing them verbatim. verbatim. First, she was like, kind of talking slick to him, like, you need to do this and you need to do that, and you need to help out with these bills. And he would just sit there and let the woman yell at him, because I guess he was used to his mom doing that. When you get in relationships, you're like, okay, fuck it, she's just like my mom, all I have to do is sit here and listen to her. When she's done, I just go play my video games. And that's what the guy was doing. Whenever his woman would yell at him, he'd sit there like a dumbass kid. Then he'd go in his room and start playing video games. I'm like, nigga, you don't want to do that, dude. So anyway, she's yelling at him at home. Then they go out. They're at restaurants. She's kind of fronting them off in restaurants, fronting them off in public. Just like I said in the 7 levels of disrespect. She's talking down at him in public. Talking down at him behind his back. And his dumb, oblivious ass is just going along with the program. And she's like, man, come on, you need to help out with these bills and you need to do this. And he's like, well, I'm trying to get a job, this, whoop-de-whoop. So eventually they had a sit down at the end of the show. And she was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. You know, when I leave here and don't be coming home at night, guess where I be? He like, with another man? That's right. And this nigga started crying. Oh my God. You stupid motherfucker. You dumbass. So you got to be intelligent enough to really peep things that's going on around you. You just can't be no big dumbass sitting up here oblivious to what's going on in your relationships, in life, in hustling, at work. I mean, this dude, I'm looking at the show and all the signs were there. All the signs were there, and he's just sitting around not having a goddamn clue. And he put himself in a dangerous situation, because in a situation like that, man, I told you in the podcast about the 7 levels of disrespect, man, you can put yourself in physical harm when women start disrespecting you like that. When they start fucking with other niggas and all that, because the next step is physical harm to you. That woman will set you up to get fucked up or something. So players, you gotta be smart about what you do. You gotta be smart about the way you handle your business. And you really gotta pick up some books about everything. Not just my books. I'm not saying this so you guys can go get my books, which I want you to do. But just read books about different topics and different subjects. Just be the type of person who wants to know stuff. Don't just sit around getting blunted. Don't just sit around playing video games and shit. Learn something every day if you can. Try to learn something new as much as possible. I mean, it's fun to have leisure time and fuck around and just let your hair down and relax, but always try to upgrade your mind. Because that's going to make you a better player. The best players are very intelligent. All the old school players that I know, the street niggas and the pimps and all these dudes, are very intelligent dudes. The best ones were smart because they had to have tactfulness. They had to have strategy. They had to be able to peep what was going on around them. So you can have all the game in the world, but if you don't have intelligence, all you're going to be doing is banging a bunch of hood rats, and that's not too smart, is it? So always have game, intelligence, and common sense. Now we're going to go more into common sense about the game on the next pay-per-view special, which is tomorrow, called the Illuminati. And you guys really need to peep this show out. It's going to be some very, 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 very deep game in the pay-per-view special tomorrow. Anyway, man, that's been it for today's show of the Mack Lessons Radio. Don't forget, take your asses to Amazon.com right now and get The Art of Gold Digging. I'ma holla at you. Peace.